The world champions of Hajime no Ippo can be seen as final bosses for the majority of the characters. Each championship fight has its own build-up and culminates with the main character of the fight demonstrating all of the skills and knowledge they have gathered throughout the series, concluding their own storylines in the world title fight. In this video I will list every world champion that has been featured throughout the series, their feats, and the big climax of their career with the match that is showcased in the manga. The world champions are divided by weight classes, starting from the featherweight divisions all the way to the super middleweight division. Joining me for this video is Ippo's Corner, who will help analyze the world champions. Starting off with the featherweight division, we have the obvious undefeated WBA world champion and the pound for pound strongest boxer in the series, Ricardo Martinez. He has 23 title defenses with 70 wins under his belt, including 66 KOs and only 4 decision wins. It's insane to imagine that only 4 boxers have survived 12 rounds with Ricardo Martinez. Ricardo doesn't have a fancy moveset or any special Sunday punch. Instead, he has perfected the fundamentals to the fullest and relies solely on them and the strategies he develops while analyzing his opponents. Ricardo even admits that he has no special superpower or enhanced training and states that he is just a human, implying that anyone can become a perfect boxer with the same training and attitude as him. Even though he's pushing his 40s, there have been no hints that he is getting weaker or more fragile. He dominated for 10 rounds straight in his match with Data and was still going strong. While his flawless boxing style is unmatched, we know that his usual style is far more terrifying than it appears. According to Alfredo Gonzalez, Ricardo may seem like an icon on the outside, but beneath the beloved persona lies a vicious demon that only waits for the perfect opportunity to reveal itself. Despite Ricardo's extensive career, we only see a handful of his matches in the series, most of which are flashbacks with only a few panels shown. Martinez first defended his title against Data back when Martinez still had no mustache and inspired Gonzalez to become a boxer. He then completely destroyed Gonzalez twice at different points in the story. Ricardo then fought Data in their rematch and ultimately retired him. He also fought Billy McCollum, which we will analyze in a minute, and then we lastly see his fight with Wally, where Wally pushed Ricardo to use the serious boxing style for a brief moment before Ricardo retired him as well. And lastly, Ricardo is set to fight Sando in the near future. It's safe to say that Ricardo Martinez is not your typical world champion, but something far above it, with next to nothing standing in his way except the fact that he's getting older and will probably need to retire at some point. The same cannot be said about the other world champion from the featherweight division, the former WBC world champion Billy McCollum. McCollum defended his title 3 times before he challenged Martinez for a unification match, which the WBC refused to set up, since if Martinez were to become a unified champion, it would be bad for pay-per-view buys, as everyone expects Martinez to retain and would simply not watch his matches. So Billy relinquished his title to face Martinez in an unofficial title unification match. Billy utilized the Philly shell and has a fast jab. However, when the match began, Billy threw a punch at Martinez that didn't even connect properly, and Martinez first broke his arm and then defeated him using only his jab in the first round. It's safe to say that if boxers like Data, Gonzalez, Wally or Sano had fought any other world champion besides Martinez, they would have become world champion, as they lasted far longer and had a greater impact in the ring with Ricardo Martinez. The next division is the junior lightweight division, where we have the IBF champion Mike Elliott. Mike started his career as an Olympic boxer and attained the silver medal alongside David Eagle, who captured the golden medal. With his limitless potential, he decided to try professional boxing, and with only 1 loss on his record, captured the IBF world title. On his way to the world title, he looked up to Volk, who was making a name for himself in America, and wanted Volk to become a world champion so he could challenge him. However, Mike reached the world champion status well before Volk and sought a formidable opponent during his title reign. 6 defenses later, he was getting bored and he issued a challenge to Volk for the title. Volk had only 1 week of preparation for this fight, which was evident in their match. Mike was playing 4D chess with Volk the entire time until Volk outplayed him and Mike was left ice cold. The only thing that saved him was the referee sabotaging the match to prevent Volk from winning the title. In the end, they duked it out, punching each other senselessly. Volk nearly lost consciousness but was the last man standing in the ring, making him the IBF World Junior Featherweight Champion. Volk currently has 3 successful defenses, with the last being a first round KO win, so he has a bright future ahead of him. The next division is the lightweight division, where Ippo's Corner will analyze all the world champions in this division.
Yo guys, I'm Ippo's Corner and I will go over the 2 lightweight division champions we are shown in the series, which are Garcia and Rosario. Juang Garcia. the former WBC lightweight world champion, started his professional boxing career after failing to qualify for the Olympics. His early career was marked by an impressive 16-fight winning streak, including 14 knockouts. This success led him to become the first world champion in the lightweight division we get to know in the series. But this glory shouldn't last long, because in his second title defense, Marcos Rosario manages to take his belt. The loss by a body shot, which Garcia disputed, marked the beginning of his quest for redemption. Furthermore, this loss seemed to have a psychological impact on Garcia, as he believed the title was unfairly taken from him, fueling his drive to regain it. Garcia's match against Ryo Mashiba was pivotal, with the promise of a world title shot for the winner. Garcia dominated the early rounds with his aggressive body attacks and strategic feints. However, as the fight progressed, Mashiba's adaptation and use of the hitman style, along with precise counters, turned the fight against him. The match culminated in a dramatic exchange where Garcia's emotional overcommitment led to his defeat. Juan Garcia is a versatile boxer, capable of both infighting and outboxing, making him a hybrid fighter who can adapt to various opponents. His signature weapon is definitely his left hook, responsible for 80% of his knockouts. He throws it from unpredictable angles, making it nearly impossible for opponents to block. But it's not just about his power. Juan's footwork is a key part of his game. He closes distance fast, pressuring outboxers and trapping them against the ropes without even throwing a punch. Combined with his high guard and constant head movement, he's tough to hit cleanly. Garcia is also a master of counterpunching, as Miyata acknowledges. He can slip in counters during combinations, and he's particularly effective against tricky techniques like the flicker jab and chopping right. Even with his aggressive style, he manages his stamina well, staying sharp for all 12 rounds. But Juan's style isn't without flaws. His high guard leaves his body exposed to uppercuts, a weakness that Ryo Mashiba exploited to turn the tide in their fight. Plus, Garcia's emotional intensity can lead him to overcommit, especially when he thinks he has the upper hand. This cost him dearly against Mashiba, when he was caught off guard by a chopping right in a high-pressure moment. I think we can all agree that Juan Garcia is a very powerful and skilled boxer, but his emotional intensity and vulnerabilities in the ring ultimately led to his downfall. And now on to his successor Marcos Rosario. Rosario's early life was marked by violence and survival in a criminal organization. Rising through the ranks as a ruthless enforcer, he became the boss's bodyguard. However, when the organization was tipped off to the authorities, Rosario was wrongfully accused of being the informant. Brutally attacked and left for dead by his own comrades, this betrayal instilled in him a deep-seated paranoia and distrust. Surviving the attack, Rosario channeled his anger into boxing, quickly becoming known for his fierce, unrelenting style. His criminal past honed his instincts for high-stakes situations, making him a formidable opponent in the ring. Rosario's career peaked when he defeated WBA lightweight world champion Juan Garcia with a devastating body shot. Currently, Rosario is up against the Grim Reaper Ryo Mashiba. In the early rounds, Mashiba has managed to keep Rosario at bay with well-timed flicker jabs and sharp counters. Rosario struggles with Mashiba's ability to maintain distance, forcing him to chase and leaving him open to counterattacks. Frustrated and deeming the situation unfair, Rosario has resorted to dirty tactics like headbutts and stepping on Mashiba's foot to create openings. While these moves have momentarily shifted the momentum, they also risk disqualification. Despite the challenges, Rosario's resilience and power remain evident. His ability to land a powerful right hook counter shows that he can still turn the tide with a single punch. As a southpaw infighter, Rosario excels at closing the distance and throwing powerful combinations, often from unpredictable angles. His controversial use of fouls adds unpredictability, but also tarnishes his reputation. In conclusion, Marcos Rosario is an incredibly talented boxer, but his criminal past continues to haunt him, influencing both his behavior and his tactics in the ring. Thanks to the Reading Crow for having me here. That's it from me, and remember, keep fighting the good fight.
The last batch of world champions are those Takamura faces from junior middleweight all the way to super middleweight division. I've already made an in-depth video about all of Takamura's world title fights, but I still want to give a brief explanation of every world champion he has faced in this video. Takamura has conquered all these classes and even unified 2 belts, making him the most overpowered character in the manga, and in my opinion the most impressive. This is especially true since he is fighting way below his his natural weight class, which is heavyweight, and yet he gives these other champions the toughest fights of their careers. The first world champion Takamura faced is the infamous Brian Hawk. Hawk lived on the streets, surviving day to day until his coach picked him up and recognized his potential. His style is unorthodox, he dodges and hits from unpredictable angles, which catches any other opponent off guard. Hawk never trained a day in his life except for his fight with Takamura, where he trained for a painful 10 days. Fun fact is that his fight with Takamura was his very first title defense, and he drove Takamura to his limits, and he potentially could have won the fight if he had taken boxing seriously and actually trained. But fact is he didn't, and was ultimately crucified in the ring, leaving him with PTSD after the fight. The next champion is the WBC middleweight champion David Eagle. Eagle is a gifted Olympic gold medalist who had a quick rise to the world stage in professional boxing, reaching world champion status after only 15 fights. Eagle initially wanted to fight Hawk for one of his world title defenses, until Takamura came onto the world scene and ruined the potential showdown with Hawk. Eagle pressured Takamura through the first half of the fight with his calm and collected boxing style, even busting Takamura wide open. Takamura even compared Eagle to Ippo because of his determined spirit to defeat his opponents. Eagle intentionally avoided hitting Takamura's injury to make it a fair fight, which proved to be his downfall, as Takamura exploited his kindness and KO'd him blindly. The next world champion is the WBA world champion Richard Bison. Bison was a potential Olympic boxer until he lost to Eagle twice, which drove him to eventually become gold medalist. Bison sought revenge on Eagle, hoping to defeat him for the world title, until Takamura ruined his chance for a rematch with Eagle. So he set his sights on taking the belt off of Takamura, which he believed was promised to him. Bison utilized the Detroit style, similar to the Hitman stance, and pressured Takamura for the first few rounds. However, Takamura simply copied his style and overwhelmed Bison. Out of desperation, Bison threw a left hook that normally wouldn't connect with any other boxer. But since Takamura had a messed up leg and a messed up eye, he just ate every incoming left hook. Kamogawa even threw in the towel to save Takamura from further damage, but Aoki caught it. Takamura then decided to put all his weight on his toe to fight Bison and actually won the fight, unifying two belts. The last world champion we see is the super middleweight champion Keith Dragon. Dragon is a fake orthodox boxer who is secretly a southpaw and only unleashes it in times of great danger. He relies on his luck and guts to fight his opponents, and it worked all the way until he became a world champion. But then he faced Takamura and was slowly decimated. In a last ditch effort, he unleashed his southpaw stance, but literally on the next page, Takamura dodges his punch and lands one devastating hook of his own, bringing Dragon to his knees and making Takamura the super middleweight champion. I thank my members for supporting my channel and being the backbone that makes it possible for me to create these videos. If you have enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more Hajime no Ippo content. I'm the Rico, and thanks for watching.